This is the article. It's a Fox News article, and this man, Vindman, says Musk should be nervous after Telegram CEO was apprehended and free speech abolitionist weirdos. That's what they're calling this scenario. The CEO, Durov, was being accused of not taking sufficient action to limit criminal activity on the messaging app. Let's keep going. And then you realize retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, who made waves as a key witness in the impeachment trial against the former president, issued a warning to Elon on Sunday after Telegram messaging app founder was apprehended. He said that this man was served with a warrant. In Paris on Saturday night following a preliminary investigation surrounding his alleged failure to sufficiently limit criminal activity on Telegram, according to this station and that station. And experts and industry leaders around the world are sounding the alarm about the intentional free speech implications of his apprehension. And this man championed the move, taking to X to warn its CEO about the growing appetite for accountability before suggesting that Musk could be next. Now, this turncoat right here, this individual that's saying all these things and the one going after the former leader and all this is going out there and saying, oh my goodness, we're taking down these people. And then he's also saying, and just a little word of warning to you, Elon, you better get ready, because if we can do it to them, we're going to do it to you. That's what you see, and that's what you sense with these words that are happening. But here's something really interesting that has been transpiring and is still transpiring and unfolding right now. But this takes place. They take down a leader, because whenever people decide that people shouldn't be able to say whatever they want with their own freedoms, that's always a good thing, right? When you got these people that stand up and say, you can't talk that way, we've decided that for you, so we're going to limit your ability to speak. And then they make threats to the biggest growing social media platform in the world right now. They make threats to stop that because it doesn't fit their narrative. And then amazingly enough, who stands up? Zuckerberg does. Zuckerberg stands up in a twist of the narrative. And let's take a look here. I want to show this right to you. And it's just a quick voiceover summarizing what's going on with Zuckerberg. Watch this.
This is why you need to know about government influence on social media. Mark Zuckerberg has some revelations. In a recent letter to the House Judiciary Committee, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted to censoring content under pressure from the Biden administration during the COVID-19 pandemic.
What do you know?
He expressed regret for not pushing back harder and acknowledged that some content, including humor and satire, was wrongly taken down. The White House defended its actions, citing the need to protect public health.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg also addressed the temporary demotion of the Hunter Biden laptop story, initially flagged as potential disinformation. He admitted this was a mistake and emphasized that Meta has since revised its policies. Zuckerberg's letter highlights the ongoing debate over social media moderation and government influence. He pledged that Meta will resist similar pressures in the future and remain neutral in the upcoming U.S. presidential election.
Now that's a prophecy that I've given. The Lord showed this to us. We shared this. God prophesied this to us about 2 years ago, that there would be pressure from, believe it or not, Elon and his moves that went over to Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment to give you the date stamp on that exact clip, just to show that to you. But let me also show you this on the screen here, the letter that he put out. So here's what he talks about. Zuckerberg writes letter to Congress, regrets and admits to working with the former Manchurian administration to censor Americans online. Let's look at this, the article. Here it is, the exact letter, and he says down in, I think, the third or fourth paragraph that he really did work with all them here, and he comes out and says it. Now, I've been talking with different individuals, and a lot of people say, well, is this because he thinks that 45 is going to get back in, and there will be ramifications if he doesn't start buddying up to them right now? Well, that could be. Or it just could be that he's having a brush with conscience and wanting to do what's right. Either way, this is not a bad thing for everyone. This is a good thing. So we got to pray, because there's a lot of pressure taking place with all that's happening. Now, let me show you one more clip, and I'm going to look right at you with this one. Let me look at you. It's great to look at you. I love our audience so much, but This clip here is talking, or it's actually Zuckerberg right after that July 13th moment when Trump got shot. And when that happened, Zuckerberg actually made a statement. And I believe he's thinking, okay, this guy could go back in. I need to kind of clear the slate and get in a good way, or they're going to put pressure on me. Hard to say what his motive really is here, but watch what he says about this. And I think this is very telling about where he's headed.
Seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most bad things I've ever seen in my life. But look, I mean, it's you know, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
That's why a lot of people like the guy. Well, imagine what our enemies thought when that went down and he began to pump his fist in the air and yell, fight. You know, you think about that and it's a very serious scenario, but I want to show you a couple other things because, you know, as we just said, there is pressure that was put on Facebook, I believe, not only from what happened where they arrested that platform leader of his, you know, of Telegram. And then you recognize also that now they're saying things about Elon, but it is not having the effect that the wicked lizard overlords would love it to have. It's actually starting to create conflict in a good way. And I'll tell you, if we don't rise now, we'll lose all of our freedoms eventually here. And so I believe the Spirit of the Lord is helping tremendously through this process. But I'm going to show you a few times that we prophesied. The Spirit of the Lord spoke something to us. I did my best to share it with the whiteboard sometime back, all the way back in 2022. Let me show you this clip right here, and I'll go over to the TV for it. Watch this.
Tech. Now this,
Freedom
I think,
Tech
is the hidden gem, and this gives me hope, okay?
2022.
Why is this important? Well, because the freedom tech that I've seen and we prophesied about, actually I mentioned in the same sentence and phrasing, Elon and Twitter, amazingly enough. Now, if this goes where I believe it can go, and this is something that I've sensed for a while, is that if there's enough pressure put on this, we could, just in the nick of time, see enough pressure put on these platforms,
Facebook,
Facebook, YouTube,
all
of them, all the other platforms.
Let me stop here for 1 second. I'm saying just in the nick of time. So this is before we even knew they were calling it X. This is before we knew any of that. And he had just apprehended it. But we had been prophesying about that even a year previous to this, about Freedom Tech had named him. And in the same, some of the video and time space, we wrote Twitter on the board as well. It's interesting how these things begin to piece together. But here's what I saw in this exact clip. I saw that if Elon and Twitter do what they were supposed to do, and I believe that they are. Now, this is 2 years ago, the Lord shared this with us, that it would begin to put pressure on Facebook and on YouTube, and now we're seeing that pressure shown to us by Zuckerberg standing up and saying, oh yeah, I did cooperate with this scenario, and who doesn't just love the guy that stands up and, you know, fist pumps and he's got blood and he's winning and saying, fight, fight, fight. I really believe that this word is coming to pass right now. And now we've got to continue to pray because I do believe we can unlock a complete realm for freedom again to speak openly. This is that word I've carried for 3 years called Freedom Tech. Now, here's the minutia on it. Here's the pieces falling into line, just as I prayed about and as the Lord showed us that Elon, Twitter would put pressure on Facebook, YouTube. That's happening as of right now. Let's finish this clip and I'll show you another one that goes back even further. Watch this.
From economics and voices to loosen their grip. Okay, now I've prophesied this for nearly 2 years before I even knew this was a thing, right? And we've said that here, specifically about this. We'd mentioned a bunch of voices beforehand who would start freedom techs and platforms, and they've done that, and specifically in the social media space. Okay?
Now, the interesting point is we talked about voices that would put pressure on it, both economically, but with voices. And the public opinion is a big deal. That's why it's called social media. And I believe God is going to help us really get victory and really begin to bring breakthrough. Let me show you a clip that's even earlier than this one, talking about Freedom Tech. Here we go.
I shared at the beginning of this year
2021.
about a topic called freedom tech. First of all, I prophesied that this could have been with number 45 before it was announced he was doing anything. Then I began to talk about this man, that Lindell would come out with some tech, and he did. We began to prophesy about a number of things, but I also talked about this man, Elon. Now, what is it about this? Now, this
Pause
is
it here
something that's
again.
important.
Pause it. Look at this. Trump and Elon together. And I've pointed this out before, but when I prophesied this 3 years ago, back in 2021, the Lord shared it with us. You know, we just know in part, we prophesy in part, and there's a lot of good people sharing good things out there. But I saw this, and I find it fascinating that with Freedom Tech, there's these two, Trump and Elon, Trump and Elon. And, you know, I appreciate Mr. Lindell. I've had the privilege to meet him and do programs with him. But Trump and Elon together, I believe, turned this thing. There's a number of things that have turned it so far. But when they came together and they broadcasted on the platform X, that is when things began to really change. 1 billion viewers. There's over 1 billion views on that and listeners, and that's pretty powerful. Let's finish this thought.
Freedom tech is something that grew up in my spirit. I began to share it earlier in the year, probably January, February. I gave this word about a freedom tech coming forward. This is one of the things I have seen. This man here, he's a rebel. He's a little bit of a rebel. I'm not saying that he's godly. I'm not saying that everything he does is going to be right. There could be a lot of wrong, a lot of unrighteousness happening, but at least he's not going with the narrative of the popular opinion of things. Now, this is what I prophesied earlier. I think also we're going to begin to see some things happening around this freedom tech that could bounce through 22, but we could begin to see freedom tech in 23. And this could be almost like a wild card answer in 2023 leading up to the 24 election.
Let me say this about Elon Musk. I've never tried to preach the values or how good of a person he is or any of that. He may do something really
Let me
terrible.
say this point, though, about it, that in 23 and 24, that's what I saw coming, that he would get the footing in 23. That's what we just shared there, that it did. And now 24, we're seeing it make a major difference. And this is what the Lord has showed us for 3 years now. And here we are. And I'm so grateful to the Lord that we've seen these things in advance. And now I see it taking a step up, but we've got to pray. We've got to pray. We stop every nefarious activity trying to break this and stop the momentum that God's bringing the light, okay, on righteousness. Let's finish this part.
Tomorrow, but God will use him to change and shake up things and shake up the institution. Elon Musk may not be perfect and may not preach the gospel and do things the way people are thinking, but listen to me, make no mistake about it. He is a reformer, and God will continue to speak through him and offend the institutions just because of what he has going on in him.
On Monday, Twitter's
Okay, we'll stop there. Now, one of the things I want to say is that we gave a word. I'm going to look right at you. You guys are awesome. I bless our audience. Everybody watching live right now, you're here this morning, and I just bless you in Jesus' name. If you're watching us on TV and we get to the end of the program today and we're live on television, make sure to join us at Joseph Z on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, on Instagram, on all the platforms, on X. We're live on X right now. We're on all the platforms. If you're watching on TV, at the end of this broadcast, don't forget to jump over. We will still be live if we do our time on television live today. So we're live simultaneously on the Sid Roth Network. God bless you if you're watching us there. Wherever you're watching from, if TV ends, come join us on the Joseph Z platforms on whatever social media you prefer. YouTube is live as well. That being said, when we're talking about what this means and where this is going, I gave another prophetic word all the way back on March 14th. Or that's when we did a reel or a short version of the prophecy I gave previous to this. But March 14th is what we have date stamped for when I gave a prophetic word about Elon having a voice in, get this, politics, stepping up and having a voice in politics. Now we saw that play out with him on that X interview with Trump, and now he's endorsing, he's doing all this. Let's watch this clip here about Elon and politics.
Saw Elon. You say, okay, here we go.
March
What are we talking
14th.
about? I saw him again, but this time I saw something involving politics. Where this starts and stops, you'll have to determine this, but there's something involved in politics where he'll either have a voice to them, or he might join them, he might run. Something's going on here, and there has been conversation behind the scenes about this. There really has. I think that he is another version, and I'm not saying a good one. I'm not trying to say there's anything good with this. I'm just saying I sense things. I'm reporting things I sense. There's another conversation too with Tucker, and I don't know that the two are on the same page or if that's where this is headed, but there's something going on with this whole picture here. Again, I need to say this, that there is, over this season of time we're looking at right now with all of it and where this is headed, I believe, and by design, let me just say this, I believe by design over this whole time frame right here, that I believe what we're experiencing in the time we're living in is a veil.
That's what's happening. The veil's being lifted. The veil's happening. And this is freedom tech. I remember when Tucker left Fox, and I remember giving a prophetic word about it that Tucker would win, and he did. People are following him. Legacy media is just, it's being outdone by a lot of these platforms. And what we got to pray is that freedom truly has its day. I believe that we're going to see things that begin to unveil. And again, we're seeing this scenario transpire. I believe we're going to see this time where we go down, but we come back up again, okay? We're going to see this coming up again, the new, okay? You've seen me draw that over and over again. But here's the biggest thing. I believe that we're going into this coming year, and every time I've written about this over the last 4 years, I see the word fire. This is a year of fire. But what does fire do? Fire, it purifies. Fire, it begins to illuminate. Fire, it changes things for the good or the bad. Fire can be good, it can be bad. It can be a wildfire, it can be a smoldering fire, it can be things that change the outcome. But fire is coming, and I believe that there's a number of things that this will also represent. Some of the negatives will be we're going to see the money wars. We're going to see the currency wars. What do I mean by that? Are we going to go completely crypto? Will BRICS have its day? All of this is going to be part of this war that we begin to recognize. What's going to happen with Bitcoin? All of it. I believe that we're going to begin to get a clear line drawn in the sand during this time in 25. We're going to see that start to unfold. But I keep hearing these words, and I've got to tell you, it is a redemptive scenario. There's a redemptive scenario. God is not willing that any would perish. He's not willing for that. God wants to see light shine in darkness. It's a redemptive instability. We've been saying this, right? We've been seeing all this redemptive instability, but it's going to come through all these things now. Right? We're going to see them go after this unless we can stop it. My big concern now of all this, and there's so many more nations we could write up here, and I bless these nations. I actually have been here, and I actually love the people. There's so much good about this land that God's trying to do. I love the people, but just because there's great people doesn't always mean the way some of the things are going is right. But that being said, I believe that we're going to see, as we prophesied for 2 years, there's a few things that I do see coming. One, I do see the mass. I see a mass return home of many people. I see a form of imminent domain. And this is going to be something where I've seen this for a long time. And I believe what's going to happen is the authorities are going to say, no, this is our land, get out. just like Sarah Huckabee Sanders did, and I believe they're considering it in other places. But I see this where they say, no, especially this place here, the Red Dragon, cannot have this. And there's going to be a kicking out of sorts of that. I also see this scenario here being a major answer. A major answer to the economic woes. I see a lot happening with that. That's something we recognize. Now, there's so many other scenarios I could get into involving what they'll do to offset this, what's going to happen to try to make more issues and take issues with it. But I believe this is going to be a year that we really begin to have, as I put over there, unrest, difficulty. They're going to try to throw out the climate narrative, of course. But I'm telling you, we're going to have issues with power, meaning electric. There's going to be anything that they can do to bring instability. They will do. And so what do we got to do? We got to pray. We got to stand. We got to prepare for this. And you say, well, what do you mean by prepare? Well, we just need to be wise. We need to be ready. We need to know who our people are. We need to be in the right places at the right times and pray and be led by the Spirit. But this is going to be a year of absolute fire. There's no question about it. A year of fire that's going to bring right sizing, a year of challenge, a year of change. And I truly believe that we get the right people in, and you're seeing kind of quite a team and an alliance standing up right now. But we get the right people in, and this is going to be a year that really ultimately brings the ultimate turn of the tide. This is when the turn begins. Turn 25. That's what I see happening, through fire, through all of it. And then this will kick off what I've seen with 26, 27, 28, right? And that whole word I have about, this scenario here, redemptive instability, and I believe this lands at 28. I'll just put it here more clearly. That's what we're going to begin to see. And the Spirit of the Lord is saying it starts in 25. Now, I'm believing that we're going to get the right people in, and it's not all based on who's in only. But I'll tell you, we got to believe for that. If the right ones don't get in and we end up in a conflict over it and the way things unfold there, we are going to have some days in front of us to stand with the Constitution, stand with what God's called us to do, and we're just going to have to keep rising. The church wins either way. But if darkness prevails, and I don't believe it will, we're going to begin to see light anyway, because we're here, the red church, the blood-bought believers that love not their lives even unto the death. God is with us, and Jesus is Lord.
I'm sensing this panic in darkness, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because it means they could respond with desperation, and they could respond in a way that is a monumental wickedness, just a way of wickedness that's coming back. So I've been praying. Late into the evening, and I'm sensing very, very clearly that the Spirit of the Lord wants to bring about victory, wants to bring about life. And here's something I really believe is going to happen. I believe that there's going to be an overcorrection by darkness to try to keep their candidates of wickedness in power. And in the same thought process, in the same vein of what I'm praying through right now, I really believe that the Lord's going to continue to bring exposure and push things into a way where they just begin to manifest completely. So here's what that looks like. It could be that and the pressure I'm feeling tonight is I'm just praying against these powers that be that are going to try to over-respond, correct, and push back against the former president. You know, I had a word a little while back and I'm praying through it, and the word is this. I've been praying about if they would indeed allow Kamala to become the 47th president before the election can take place. And that would happen by the removal of our favorite Manchurian candidate, Biden. And I'm praying about it, and I heard Perry Stone talk about it. And it's been on my mind, because if that were to happen and then Trump won the election, he would come in and become, well, he'd become 48. He'd become 48. And Isaiah 48 has some interesting narrative in there about rebuilding and whatnot. But regardless of that, regardless of which number it lands at, I just believe that there's going to be some monumental responses, some monumental issues that begin to push back towards the righteous, because they are going to get desperate now. They're getting desperate. There's a desperation happening. So we got to pray. We got to lean in, because the Spirit of the Lord is going to make a way through all of this. I really sense that we've got to pray about what's happening, not just now, but in the upcoming fall time narrative, because if we don't, I believe there's a lot more riding on this line than we recognize. No matter what happens, there is going to be redemptive instability, moments of chaos, and all this stuff really is going to begin to multiply into a very difficult way. So the bottom line is this. I'm praying. I'm up middle of the night praying. I just, we put a lot of time in doing interviews and things today. So I'm just here. I'm praying for you, praying for our partners, praying for all of you, because I believe the Lord is saying there will be a way where there seems to be no way, and we will see the other side of this entire narrative. So we've got to lean in right now. But I feel pressure in the air. I really do. I sense this just a sense of pressure, that they feel desperate. They are feeling the pressure now, and they're going to respond. Darkness it's going to respond. And we are here, though, in the name of Jesus, to meet it, to stop it, to bring victory for our children's children. And my great sense is that no matter what they pull or what happens next, I see a long-term redemptive instability that will take us to the other side of this. And I think they'll pull out all the stops. And I've been praying about this, that, these things aren't set, but you get these sense that, and I've been getting a sense that they could indeed say, we're going to cause there to be another distraction by saying, oh, the Manchurian, he's in such decline that he didn't make it, or we have to put him to the side, or something that would put her in, and also bring an attention towards their side of things. I've been praying about Jimmy Carter. And so there's a lot of these type of scenarios that I just, in the prophetic, when you're praying, everything feels like it's right now, or like in the next moment, and suddenly, and it's not always like that. There's a depth perception that begins to happen. So I'm praying through it, because I greatly sense that we're going to see victory if we don't let off the gas, if we don't get intimidated by this wicked spirit that wants to run this place into the ground and take authority for itself. Thank you for praying, you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. I really do. Well, we've got a big morning. I'm going to be broadcasting tomorrow morning, and then we've got a number of things coming up. Thank you for praying for me. Thank you for praying for us. We are really working strategically on how to serve you in 2025 with broadcasting, prophetic journalism, television, and going after this. And I do believe the hand of the Lord is on this. You can't believe the polls right now, by the way. You can't believe them. The polls, they're looking at it, and they're really polling, the other side of the aisle, and none of that. I mean, the truth is I believe that we're winning. And I sense the Lord is empowering people like you to drive through, to the other side of what's happening, for victory, for your children's children. I believe there's a long-term, one more round time of victory coming. But we got to pray. It is on a knife's edge. It is something that it's not just going to be an easy deal. And you got to be ready to go all the way through past November. There's a lot's going to happen. Well, I'm going to be praying. I'm still praying. God bless you. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to everybody that stands with us. We are here for you. And I truly am praying and interceding. And I feel this pressure in the air. I feel things are shifting around. And they're saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to walk this out? What do we got to do? And they're just getting ready to release whatever it takes. Listen to me. They will do whatever they have to do. They're now very desperate. So we're going to pray for safety for everybody and every strategy and everything that's happening. Remember to watch the small news, and they will be putting out big news. And I believe it's like right on our doorstep. I feel the pressure. That's like the heavens are charged. They're charged, and we've got to pray that their plans continue to fail. There's a lot of good alliances happening, and it's going to make them desperate now. So let's pray. And as a matter of fact, right now, I bind every assignment. I bind everything that would try to exalt itself against the knowledge of God over my friends watching right now and over everything that's taking place around the world and this global turmoil that wants to break out on a global scale with a World War III narrative. Full tilt. In Jesus' name, we bind it. I bind the assaults against the righteous. Praise God. Yeah, people are commenting. It's true. I'm going to be on Troy's program tomorrow and other wonderful people. I got some guests I'm getting ready to have on. It's going to be great. And then this next week, it's going to be me and a couple guys. We're going down. We're doing some prophetic roundtables, and it's going to be great. I'll show you that. I think one of them is going to be on TBN. We've got things happening. Me and Rick Renner are connecting. Troy Brewer. I'm going to be connecting with my friend Pastor Todd Coconato and all of it. So we got the gang kind of getting together, getting the band together. We got a lot to talk about, and we've got a lot of conferences that are coming up. But here's the real thing. The real thing. God is making a way for you and your family. For you and your family. I sense it. I believe that sorrow is going to last for the night. There's going to be challenges, but we will come to the other side of this. We really will. What are you guys all doing up in the middle of the night? It's past midnight. Whatever time zone you're in, it's even later, depending on if you're towards the East Coast. I'm on Mountain Time. I'm in Colorado. But I've been doing this. I'm going with off and on days where I'm fasting and praying. And Heather's been doing it. Our team, I'm asking people to do it. And the closer we get to the election, we're going to get more serious about it. Because we got to lean in. So it's my watchman thing. I get up in the middle of the night. I pray sometimes. And I'm just standing with y'all. Have no fear. I do believe that we're going to see a turn. But boy, it's going to be a ride. But I believe we see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living right now. Going into this fall, going into the coming year. God is with us. We got another round coming. And I'll see you guys in the morning. I bless you. Thank you for being here. And I've got a strong word of the Lord in me that I'm praying through. I'm fostering. I believe I see what the Lord's doing. And I'm praying through it for a moment before I just release some of the things I'm seeing. God bless you guys. Listen to me. You're anointed. God's with you. Don't you fear. Don't you fall for this intimidation stuff. God's with you. There's going to be a very good outcome for the righteous. But they are going to respond, and I feel like it's right on our doorstep. It feels like it's urgent, like it's going to be first thing in the morning, like into the next day, 2 days, this next week. And they're going to pull out all the stops. but greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So it's going to be all right. Love you all, viewers. Love you, partners. Thank you for everything. We're standing, and we are going to be relentlessly here for you all the time. I'm going to be here through all of it.
I want to tell you about an amazing opportunity that has just been presented to us. We've had a supernatural door of opportunity open for us. Only God could do what is happening for this ministry right now. And it is involving television, network television, satellite television, going all over the world. Now, there's a lot in store for this, but let me explain. This is a word God's given us to reach 1 billion people for the gospel. And I feel an urgency for this coming year to advance and go forward because of the uniqueness of what God has spoken in this ministry and through this ministry in media. And here's what we have to do. To accomplish this, we not only have to buy the airtime, but we have to build out a call center and finish this building. And we are in the middle of it right now, but the timeline has just been sped up to fall time so we can be ready for the first of the year when we're going to begin to launch out in television in a monumental way. Now, we've had an opportunity that is both fiscally responsible and financially amazing, the way God has done this for us. And we have to take opportunity right now with it because it won't last long. So here's what I'm asking you. Would you consider supporting us? Helping us build out the call center, helping us finish off this building, and helping us with the budget of airtime. And it is going to be a monumental thing, and the Lord has given us favor, and I can't wait to tell you more and more about it. But if you would consider partnering today over this, I know we can hit this target, I know we can walk through the door, and I know we can raise up 1 million to go win 1 billion. And I'm telling you, this is a God moment. It's a now word. And I'm asking you if you consider partnering with us over it. Maybe you want to become a partner, or if you are a partner, maybe you'd consider increasing your partnership today or giving a one-time offering. This is an amazing open door for this ministry and this broadcast. Everything we've prayed about, everything the Lord has told us to do is now coming to this monumental moment. Next year, we're going to reach the masses like never before, but we need your help. Please consider going to josephz.com right now and supporting this amazing open door. Thank you so very much.